Alrighty, so this video is for people wanting to know how to bulk, how to do it, how to grow muscle, how to grow my frame. And it's probably more so for people, like I'm lifting weights and I'm eating chicken and protein. Protein's pretty important, I believe. I'm probably building muscle, but like, am I really? Like, I've seen people like get on the bulk and they're really like shooting up in size. They must be doing something. I know I need to lift weights. I know to lift, eat protein, but I don't actually know what to do exactly. How do I know if it's working? How do I know I'm doing the right amount? So here is just all of the minimum requirements or just all the information that describes how to bulk. So we'll go over the things that need to be there in order for you to bulk. And then we'll just go over a few little extra details that will help you even further. So how to bulk, which is growing muscle tissue. So first thing is stimulus to the muscle to make it grow or get stronger. Just both is going to happen. So people say what's the difference between hypertrophy and strength? Think about it. If I lift heavy weights, am I going to grow my muscle and get stronger? Yes. The answer is yes. People overcomplicate it because there's ways to be a little bit more hypertrophy orientated and there's ways to be more down the spectrum of strength training. Both happen no matter what, even if you're all the way down, even if you're as far down the hypertrophy lens as possible, you're still getting stronger. And back the other way, what, you think powerlifters aren't growing muscle? And you think those, has anyone seen Chris Bumstead lift weights? They're both strong as fuck and they're both jacked, okay? Stimulus. It's just lifting weights, simple as that. Number one, so just having a program, which is essentially regular stimulus. So, and it doesn't matter what exercises, it just matters that you're doing it every week. And muscle groups. So essentially, if you don't care about your legs, don't do legs. I'd recommend doing it. A lot of people, they want a full, even physique. But, if you had a focus on, I really want to grow like my pecs, make sure there's a little bit more pecs or a little bit more volume in there. Just don't do any less than 3 days training. If you're doing less than 3 days training, it will be much slower. Unless you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, you can 100% do 1 or 2 days. If you've sort of been in the gym for a little bit, don't do any less than 3 days. And that will just cover your bases. Do however many uppers and lowers and just exercises and all that sort of stuff. I would recommend not going past 5 exercises in a session. It's just too much. Cool. You've got your program, you're rocking up to the gym, and that might already be you. Number 2 is the sets that you do, exercises and sets that you do, they have to be close to failure. Meaning when you do a rep, you just can't get it up, even though you're giving it, you've done 10 reps and on that 11th, you cannot get it up. You've failed the lift. You've reached either technical failure, meaning you just can't perform it, or muscular failure, meaning the muscle just cannot contract anymore. What happens at this point is something called mechanical tension. This is the chemical process that asks the question of hypertrophy. So when you take a bicep curl all the way to failure, you're essentially just asking a question to your body, hey, we want to grow this muscle. Now, I analogize it as asking a question because you also have to answer that question, which gets us into the nutrition bit. But let's finish off this. And then lastly, progressive overload, which is essentially just meaning training hard consistently and not doing the same thing each week. So if you're rocking up and you're always doing 60 kilos on bench press, you need to do it maybe a little bit more. And not in the matter of weight necessarily. It could just mean if you always do 6 reps, chase that 7th rep on that last set. And that would probably land you in the training hard category. Maybe, bit of an ego thing. Maybe you're not training hard enough. That's another way to look at progressive overload. It's not adding weight. It's training hard enough consistently so that you're allowed to put more weight on. This isn't doing it anymore. I need to put more weight on because I've trained hard. It's not picking up a 1 kilo dumbbell and then next week going to the 2 kilo dumbbell. I could already fucking do the 2. Cool. Those are the minimum requirements just for training. It's as simple as that. People can do shit programs, as long as they rock up regularly and train hard and like stress the muscle, you're gonna get results. But answering the question, the nutrition bit. So, protein is the number one. Why? Because protein contains something called amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids and there are 11 non-essential. The 11 are produced by the body, meaning that's why they're not essential, where you can just produce them. And the 9 essential we need to get from food, from our nutrition, which is outside the body. If all 20 amino acids aren't present, we will grow muscle at a lesser rate. So we need all of them. That means you need all the 9 essential, you need to eat a good diet. Too long, don't read. Eat all of them. If you eat meat, you'll be fine, because the meats, dairies, and eggs and things like that, they have a complete amino acid profile. They've got the 9 essential. If you're something like a vegetarian or a vegan, best to consume the amino acid leucine, which you can get from a nutrition shop, or you can get a BCAA that also has leucine. BCAAs, I think, are commonly ragged on, but yeah, if you're a vegan, they're super important. So leucine is the one that's commonly missed out if you're a vegan or a vegetarian. Okay, cool. Now the next bit about protein, the amount, how much. The research, I do that because I'm a fucking scientist, but that's just what it's telling us. Like, I haven't read the fucking things. The research shows us anywhere between 1.6 bottom end range to 3.2 top end range multiplied by your body weight gives us protein in grams per day for optimal muscle gains. So if you train and eat like a tiny smidge of protein, you're still going to grow muscle, but you had the chance and the opportunity to grow more. So you asked the question, but you didn't quite answer it. How do we answer it the best possible way? Now, if you think about this and you've done the numbers like what I've done here, so let's use my client here as an example. Just look at this number up here, which is his average body weight, meaning just like what he was that week. 77.6. So if you multiplied that by 1.6, you'd get 124 grams of protein. And then let's go the upper end. If you multiply that by 3.2, you'd get 248. Now, if anyone is watching this and understands roughly what 124 grams of protein or 248 grams of protein looks like in a day, this is vastly different. And you would ask the question, surely, like, why is the optimal range so large? Like, that an extra 120, that's double. That's so many more steaks, protein shakes. It's insane. Now, I actually don't know the answer to that. The point is, research gives us a range. Make sure you're within it. Definitely make sure you're above this. And the reason I use this is because it seems to be the industry standard. Like, I've watched heaps of podcasts with, Mike Israetel, Lane Norton, Jeff Nippard, Revive Stronger, all these people just constantly talking about how much protein do we need, and it's always just, train hard, eat protein, and they all use around about 2.2 times body weight. They use 2 times body weight in pounds, which is 2.2. So if we use my client here, his sort of middle of the rung, and also like what the industry uses, what a good base number is, best bang for your buck is 171. That's what we'd pick for him. If you are inclined to go, hey, I don't believe that, I want to go towards the upper end range, go for your life. Maybe you will get more gains. I'm yet to try. I should try that for myself and see how I think it works for me. That is getting more into the weeds and things that are less significant than just hitting a roundabout in this area and training hard. Okay? Cool. Next thing. Those are just like minimum requirements. Otherwise, it's just not going to be happening, muscle growth. Next thing is being in an energy surplus. A surplus of energy. Meaning, if this bar here is energy in, the food we consume, and this bar here is energy out, the energy that we expend in a day, training, walking around, thinking, digesting. If they're the same, you'll maintain weight. If the energy in is higher, you will be in a surplus of energy. That's what that is, okay? So it is shown to, muscle growth is shown to be much quicker over the long term if you are in a surplus of energy. Okay, and muscle growth, if someone's tried this for a little bit, but I'm just going to tell you, it's a very slow process. It's a very rewarding process. You're getting stronger, bigger, you're servicing your body, regular training. It's just something that is primal, and you just know it's helping your body. It's a rewarding process, and because it takes a long time, like if you see people that are really jacked, they've spent years doing that, and no one can take that away from them, and they're going to be, they're going to increase their life expectancy, all this sort of stuff. It's just I think everyone, unless they're happy with the amount of muscle on their body, everyone should be in a lifelong bulk. To what degree, and how much training, that's fine, but you just need to be trying to build muscle. Anyway, for it to be much quicker, and to, just get the job done quick, we need to be in a surplus of energy. So how do we know if we are in a surplus of energy? Because this is where people are like, oh yeah, my mate says have 3,000 cal. I'm just going to have 3,000 cal. Maybe 3,000 cal gets the job done for him, but how do we know it's going to get the job done for you? I could argue it's not even getting the job done for him. He's just saying some arbitrary fucking number that he's heard from his friend or some video that he's watched. The way you tell, you could start gaining weight off 2,200 cals. The way we tell if we're in an energy surplus, and I've got asterisk, caveat, meaning you have to be training and you have to be having high protein, because if you weren't, you'd just be becoming an obese human sitting on the couch. The way we tell is if we look at what your body weight does on average over at least 2 weeks. So let me show you an example over here. So we look at my client here. Ignore all this stuff. We're just looking at body weight. He weighed himself in the morning time after going to the toilet before eating. Those are the most fixed conditions. If it's not those conditions, don't worry about it. We took the average, and then we compared it to the average of the following week. Let me just fill this out. He's actually in a cut, but let's just use, he wants to move into the bulk, so let's use another number. Let's use 78. I'm going to just bring his average up. Cool. So the week before he averaged 77.6, and this week he averaged 77.9. So he's increased by 300 grams. That's how we know he is on average, even though the weight's gone up and down, up, down, down, up a bit. Even though it's going up and down, we know on average, because of these numbers, that it's going up. Look at what your weight does on average over 2 weeks. The target, like how much should we be growing? The target growth rate used by the industry, again, watch all these videos, everyone just uses these numbers, is 1 to 2% of body weight per month. So if you've gained a percentage of what you were, that's optimal growth rate. I use a weekly number, which is 0.25 to 0.75% of body weight per week. My sheet here works it out. So if we come over here, again, ignoring these numbers we're looking at is these. Just look at these ones right now that I've just highlighted here. Right here. He's gained 331 grams, and the rate was 0.4%. So he's landed in that optimal rate. So we just go, I know he's training, I know he's eating protein, and he's growing at an optimal rate. I go, good job, let's do that again. Eat the same calories, eat the same stuff, train the same way, let's just do it again. And your goal is to acquire as many weeks in the year as possible by doing that. You don't want to have a week where you didn't grow because you just didn't eat the calories, you didn't adhere, you weren't concentrating enough, you weren't disciplined. Go, I could have just eaten a little bit more and that week would have been a win, or I could have grown more muscle. Cool. So look at the rate. If you want one of my sheets, just message me, I'll give it to you. If weight does not go up on average by desired rate, then calories need to go up. So if it's 0.1%, or if it's gone down, calories need to go up. They need to do this. Sorry, let's say it's gone down. This is what's happening. So we need to go, yep, calories up. Generally put them up by 10% or 200 calories. Bam. See what it produces. Next week it might not produce, which is fine because we're finding the answer. One more jump, bam, and you'll find that it's growing. Do that again. Eventually, maybe after like 7 weeks or 2 months, it'll come back down because you're a bigger human and you require more. Sorry. It's almost like this goes up. You're a bigger human and you require more calories to fuel the more muscle that you have and the more training. And you go, fuck, bam, again, get on top of that. That's how it works. If you were gaining above 0.75% of body weight per week, sweet. You just may be putting on more body fat in the process than you would like. There's like this sweet spot in this realm here. So if you were gaining 1% every week, I'll be like, all right, we need to slow down the calories. We actually need to, you've come up here and we need to slow down. We need to bring it down. If you are someone who is quite lean, I'll give you a stereotype, like a 16-year-old that's quite skinny getting into the gym, I would say 100% go above. If you're gaining 1, even 2% body weight, just in this first realm, it's like the body's just going to, bam, just respond to all of this like training and muscle growth really quickly. So maybe for, let's go 7 weeks, at whatever rate you can gain, do it. I think it'll respond really well. Then, aim for the upper end, 7.5. If it's 0.25, eat more. If you are much more amateur, if you're a bit more concerned about putting on more body fat, aim for like 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. There we go. And just repeat until we've bulked for like 6 months or you're ready to do a cut. Or you need to take a diet break, meaning you've been eating so much food, you're like sick of it and you need to take a break. So drop down to a manageable amount of calories and just sit there for like either 3 days or a week and then go back to the bulk. Cool. That is the minimum requirement of the bulk. If you do those things and track those things, mainly just your body weight, and this example up here with my client, we're tracking calories, which is what I'm going to get into now, just a couple of further stuff. To manipulate your food, because for some people, especially starting off, it is just good advice to say, hey man, if your weight's not going up, eat more. If it's going up, sweet. That's all. Whether it's an extra toasted cheese sandwich, an extra chicken roll, when you come home from school, you're getting one extra bit of KFC wings. You're saying, hey mum, can you serve me 2 bits of steak instead of 1? But you're eating this consistently, or you're only eating 3 meals a day, and you make it 4 meals a day, and now you're consistently eating 4 meals a day. Whatever it is, eat more, whatever that means to you, do it. This is where we go, okay, I want to look at more detail in my diet, so that's why people track calories, because the macronutrients, protein, carbs, fats, they all hold a different role, and also calories. So we're measuring this bar with the actual unit of measurement for energy, which is calories. Well, that's 1 unit of energy. Cool, so what you want to do is keep protein at the same level, meaning this, I'm picking the 2.2 level. Keep it at that level, unless you need to aid adherence of diet, meaning make the diet easier. So if I'm just like, hey, we need to go up in calories, and you just need to eat, an extra bit of chicken to make it easier, do that. Keep fats at an adequate level for health, unless aiding adherence of diet, meaning to make it easier, like, I can't put my calories up without eating 10 more grams of fat. Sweet, do it, whatever. We use 0.8 times body weight to work out how many grams of fat is good. Don't go below 0.6. Then it's your hormonal production might go a bit whack. You might feel a bit whack. Cool. The last sort of main one here is prioritize carbs for the rest of your calories, because they are easier to consume in high amounts. So you'd imagine it's much easier to consume, like 3 Gatorades than 3 steaks. That's just easy to get down. It's easy to digest. Again, 3 steaks. That's just going to be, it's good for you. It's healthy. It's like good. And it's like, especially for people losing weight, but it's the digestion process is harder. Whereas you can imagine that fast digesting carbs such as a Gatorade, it's just going to happen quickly. And also, carbs is the macronutrient that has the greatest impact on our training performance, because our muscles use glycogen to contract and water. So the more that is there, the better performance and the better longevity of performance we have as well, also in cardio. So let me just give you an example of calories. of how we can do this. So let's say someone we've worked out, their weight's not going up and they were eating 2,700 calories, and we go, cool, you need to start eating 2,900 calories to bulk. Here's a few different ways how we can structure the 2,900 calories. So all of these days this is calories. All of these days are 2,900. It's 5 cal more, 10 cal more, 15 cal more, 30 cal more. It's all the same. It's all 2,900 calories. But the way we split up the fat, the carb, and the protein is different. These light green ones hit protein. So because we know for this client over here, if we come back over here, 2.2 times body weight is 171. So I usually just put a little bit more protein, so 180. I keep them on that. And then 0.8 for fats is around about 60. So we put 60. And then the rest of the calories go to carbs until we hit the number. So one other thing. For every gram of protein, there's 4 calories. For every gram of carbs, there's 4 calories. And for every gram of fat, there is 9 calories. So if you have a protein shake, 1 scoop, that's probably got about 25 grams of protein in it. So to figure out how many calories, I just type in 25 grams of protein. So a scoop of protein powder would have 100 calories. That's why you can split the macronutrient ways up in different ways, and you can actually hit the same amount of calories. So these are good ways. These are going to hit protein. This is a little under, but still very close. Fats, in these days, the fats are really high. On this day, it's lower. Carbs, high carbs here, really low carbs here. But I'm still hitting the calories and the protein. That's going to get the job done. 100%. Win, 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 win. Training. You are bulking. Success. The most optimal way, and the way that we do it, like in the bodybuilding industry, the way that we do it, I don't fucking have bodybuilders. Fix protein at that amount, fix fats at that amount, and then put all the rest of the calories that you have until you hit to your marker in carbs, because you're going to get the most amount of training performance by doing that. This person eating 2,900 calories this way is going to get more training performance than this person, and this person. And over the long run, every week, more training performance, probably more stimulus and more gains, more recovery, easier to digest the food because we're eating more carbs. So it's easier for us to eat more calories. So it's just the optimal way, if we can do it, to do that way. Sometimes, like if we need to go to 3,100 or 60, if I need to go to 3,100, sometimes if I say, hey, person, eat this amount, they'll go, I just can't get to that amount of carbs with that protein, that fat, which is what I was saying over here by saying whatever you need to do to adhere to the diet. So if we go, okay, cool, let's go to 420, a little bit more carbs. And if we need to put this up a bit, go to 200 and put this to 70. If that's going to make eating it easier, still very carb heavy, do so. Maybe the next jump can go to 470 because you've put the protein and the fats higher. Cool. All right. If you've watched that video and you are not empowered to just do the bulk now, I don't know what will.